Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Knocked Conscious. Today I had the pleasure of speaking with Natalie Danelishan. She's with the Free Cities Foundation. It was a fun conversation. Here it is. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Knocked Conscious. Today I have a special guest with us. I have Natalie Danelishan. She's from freecities.org. Hi, Natalie. How you doing today?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We've never spoken before. It's so nice to meet you. I've followed you on X lately, a lot of the groups, and seeing a lot of the different ideas that are coming up out of the things that are going on around the world. So tell us a little bit about your organization. That's why I reached out to you. You have this group called Free Cities. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, I work for the Free Cities Foundation, and basically it's a foundation. What Free Cities are, they're self-governing territories within other nations. So they uphold individual rights and freedoms, and it's just the Free Cities kind of supports these little free cities across the world. So that's one thing that the Free Cities Foundation does. We're like a support, and we connect to other people and other things, and make sure everybody has the support that they need to build these free cities across the world. So that's basically what our organization does. We also have one major event for connecting every year, and that's called Liberty in Our Lifetime. And I will be at the one next year. It's going to be in Prague in 2024. So those tickets actually go on sale on Tuesday. So I'll probably I can link to it or something on Tuesday, but it's going to be fantastic. Last year I connected and met so many people. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. So, and the
That's
event
amazing.
ended up in the Times as well. So it was really a good time. But I
Eh,
highly recommend people come next year. If anything, to come see me. Yeah,
there
come
you
to
go.
me. So.
Or to enjoy Prague's beautiful, lenient drug use. I guess. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, there was none of that there that I saw personally. I mean, it was
I'm
just
just messing.
gorgeous. Like the buildings were astonishing. I got to see the clock. I don't know how many people know about the Prague clock, but that was gorgeous, and the food was just delicious. Like if you want really good European food, go to Prague. I should be a travel advisor, like, oh,
It's
here's all the
interesting.
reasons you should go to Prague. See
Well, it's
me and the
interesting.
food.
Yes, Natalie and the food. There you go. In Prague next year, 2024. They'll call it Pragali or Natalovia or something like that. Natalovakia. We'll do it there.
I
Nat
think
Republic.
our theme last year was opt into freedom, so that was pretty cool.
Oh,
So
there you go. Perfect.
yeah,
So
I like
let me
that.
ask you about that. So in Prague, are there any free cities currently existing in there? In
Not in Prague, but it's in Prospera and Morazan are two places where we have free cities, and they're better than the government outside of them. They are getting pushback from governments, but that's to be expected. You go in and you have a contract and you have these set of rules, and in exchange you get less taxes, more freedom, less laws. So it's a win in my opinion. Personally, I think the United States should really start looking into this, because it's like California could easily be its own free city if it wanted to. We could have secession in America, and we could have these free cities popping up. Especially, we don't know what's going to happen in 2024 with Hillary and Trump. We could have Netflix is saying we're going to have a civil war. What American are you? Have you seen that ad yet
right.
for
Yeah.
that video? It's like,
Well, I mean, come on. Tim Pool talks about it every segment. So
5 minutes, but Tim is right. I mean, that could very
well,
well happen in
it's
America.
not calling for it when you're observing the actions that are leading up to it. Like you think we're prophetic. I mean, we talk about Alex Jones, right? Just reinstated.
Oh
He
yeah.
just read the stuff and then extrapolated it out. It's
Yeah.
not that hard to do with the right information.
No.
There are geniuses in certain ideological circles that are absolute geniuses. And you look at them and they reach out with an ideological view, and you sit there and you squint your heads because they don't have the data that contradicts what they're thinking because they didn't receive that data. When you have limited data, you're going to come out with a limited solution.
Yeah. And, I think just observing how they've led us up to this, by separating us during COVID, And then by pitting us
Race and
against each other,
gender and
with
sex. And
Black Lives Matter and everything, and now the whites are being excluded, and you're lining it up to piss off Americans. And you can't tell me this isn't on purpose. This is like their playbook. You're
yeah,
watching it happen in real time,
yeah.
And so if Trump wins, which I think he might, because if the choice is Trump and Biden, it's going to be Trump. You
Well,
know,
if
that's
it doesn't, there's no way you can't call fraud. I can't imagine. We're
yeah,
talking about the recent polls of 33% approval rating, plus the newest one where I think Trump is up 9. But we need to caution, because remember 2016 when Hillary was winning, it was 92.8. I remember the numbers specifically. There was the caricature. Remember the 92%. And I think that all the Trump people went underground and didn't say who they were going to vote for. So it really made it look even more stronger towards Hillary. And I think that's kind of what's happening with the other side, is that the
yeah,
Trump people who are very assertive, a little more, passionate, I would assume, in that way, right? In the civil liberties way, in that let me be me kind of way, don't tread on me, Gadsden flag kind of way. They are pushing back, and now the other side is kind of cowering and not admitting who they're voting for either. So we have to very much be caution about those polls too, because I think people start changing their own minds or telling you or sharing less, depending on
well,
how
I
the trend is.
actually I actually made a bet with a friend back in 2016 that Trump was going to win. I had a gut feeling he was going to win, and he was like, "You're crazy. No, Hillary's going to win." And I said, "I don't know. I'm seeing all the signs in Ohio that are pointing towards Trump winning, and that's
There
what
was
you
a
see.
feeling, right?
Yeah, it's a vibe, and plus too, everybody had Trump signs in their front yard. That was kind of obvious, but Ohio's a, Ohio's this huge state, so we do have we're kind of like a swing state in a sense. But
Well, I
back
think
then,
Ohio was on the correct side of the presidential election for everyone since the 60, I think. So it
yeah,
has been the way Ohio goes is the way the country goes
yeah,
in that way. So for you to see the visual signs of that, and then for you to get that result, you kind of put that together yourself as well.
yeah. So I was like, Trump's gonna win, and he did. And we had a great 4 years, some fantastic 4 years, and then the dementia patient won, and now here we are.
We had a less interfering 4 years. How about that?
Yeah.
You know,
It I mean, even when Trump was leaving, people would say, "Oh, don't forget how he was tyrannical about COVID." Okay, he was pretty tyrannical with COVID, but at the same time, by the time he was leaving, he was, saying, "Hey, we need to move on. It's a virus. We got to live with it." I remember him saying that, and him taking off his mask when he got off the helicopter that one time. Do you remember that?
yeah, yeah. Hey, look,
Yeah.
the thing is, everyone started hard. I was actually in Vegas the day they shut it down. I was in Belize the week right before leading up to the COVID shutdown. It was March 16th or something, or 20th in 2020. And the street is empty. I have pictures of the Las Vegas Boulevard without a car on it, sitting at Giada's, and it just was empty. And you're just like, whoa, this is crazy. So
Yeah.
you had to go hard first, but then you have to then look at the evidence, look at the data, and then, like you said, change your mind. He did reverse. Now, the one criticism I will say, he does tout the vaccines and the speed of them being done under his watch, which is 100% correct. And that was an amazing feat of administrative capability, but it also was tainted by Pfizer. So let's not kid ourselves. I mean, we
Yeah,
understand.
I'm still unvaccinated. I got COVID. I got the natural antibodies. I'm good. So
Thank
so
you.
that
So I was diabetic. I'm diabetic, type 2 diabetic. And when it first hit, right in the beginning, I said, I'm with my girlfriend. We just masked everywhere. I live in Arizona, so we're pretty civil liberty oriented. We might be purple now, but we're still very much leave me alone kind of thing. So not much was shut down. We still did everything. I
yeah.
ended up going to the doctor. They're like, get vaccinated. And I said, no, let me see what I can do first. Let me work on my blood sugar. Let me work on my exercise. Let me work on all this stuff. I lost 20 pounds. I I'm now pre-diabetic. I got off one medication. So it's like I took it upon myself. I started taking vitamin D and all the other stuff, the general health things. I got COVID twice and I breezed through it and I am diabetic. So to tell me that, I mean, I understand I had a comorbidity. I didn't have all of them, or I didn't have four of them, but I had one of them. I was able to get through it without much problem because I had taken vitamin D and supplemented and really worked on my health. I've gotten it 2 or 3 times since and just been like, oh, sniffle, got it, done.
I've only gotten it once, but when I did get it, my friend actually texted me and was like, "You need to be taking vitamin D. You need to be taking raw zinc." And he just texted me all the vitamins. Actually, this friend was Rob Schneider, which is kind of cool. But
Oh, wait,
yeah.
wait. Rob
So
Schneider's a friend of yours.
yeah, we
Very
met up.
nice. I follow
Sometimes
him
we
and
text.
I actually, oh,
He's
sorry. I've
he's
reposted
amazing
a lot of his
Liberty
stuff
guy.
about. Yeah,
Yeah,
he is definitely.
he posts a lot of Mises content and freedom and liberty, and I just love him. He is an amazing person, and actually, everybody should go see his movie this weekend, Daddy Daughter Trip. I am watching it for my birthday. So for some odd reason, I watch Rob Schneider, videos on my birthday.
Oh,
But it's just
really?
like tradition at this point. I don't
Did
know.
you watch Deuce Bigelow on one of your birthdays? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
did.
But
That's
not
what I
Deuce
did.
2. Please, not 2. Just tell me you didn't watch 2 on your birthday. That would have been.
But so it was just he's a fantastic person. But I have autoimmune issues. I don't have a gallbladder. I don't have an appendix now. I actually lost my appendix this year. I had kidney problems as a kid. I had autoimmune issues with fighting upper respiratory infections. I've had diverticulitis. So I've had these horrible things in my life, and I was still like, I will risk it. I will not put more into my body that my body doesn't need. I need to naturally build that immunity. And I think that's something that we're missing in society. I mean, the building of a natural immune system. Everybody's like,
Absolutely.
here's a quick fix, and it just messes with your body.
I remember my nieces and nephew when there was like the antibacterial stuff at the entrance of the school now. And I'm like, you're supposed to play with spit and dirt. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like if you
I,
don't
I
play with your boogies, what are you doing as a child? I don't
yeah,
understand.
I tell my kids all the time, go eat dirt, go play in the mud. You'll get dirty. And well, two of them are teenagers now, so they're kind of past that. But the youngest one, she definitely comes home muddy and filthy and dirty. So it's like good, you're building your immune system. But my kids over the years, they really don't get sick very much.
Right.
You
I'm
know, my
from the same thing. I'm a first generation American. Same thing. My parents were both German, met here, and it was always just throw dirt on it and get back in the game. We were exposed. They threw it. I think we did a chicken pox party. They threw us all together so we'd all get it at the same time. I remember doing that growing up. So
Yeah, I mean, I just remember being a kid in the 80s. Oh man, this is taking me back today. Yeah, 86, man, I was born. So
okay,
the
a
early
little younger
80s,
than me.
90s. Yeah, I'm
All
I'm
right.
still kind of young. But my oldest child's about to turn 18. It's really strange. But um yeah, going over those sketchy ramps as a kid and coming home with
Mhm.
cuts and
Helmets
bruises.
and elbow pads.
We
What are
didn't
you
have
talking
helmets.
about?
Yeah.
Right. What are you talking about? I grew up in just outside Philadelphia. We rode our bike everywhere. Not a single helmet to be found anywhere. You always came home with like a road rash or some dirt on your knee or some skin missing and a little, scrape. That's what it was. It's
Do
kind
you
of
remember
weird.
not
I don't
wearing
know what
seatbelts?
happened.
No
My mom,
seatbelts?
so I was born in 74 and we had a Pinto station wagon, which are the ones that blow up when they get hit.
I
My
had an
mom,
Oldsmobile station wagon. Yeah,
yes.
growing up.
So my mom tells me the story of laying us in the back on a blanket, not
Hmm.
in a seat, not in a seatbelt, not even sitting upright. You're laying in the back in a blanket, like in a Ford Pinto.
Yeah,
That was a life.
me and my siblings, I have two siblings, so we would just sit in the back of the station wagon, and everything would be like going backwards. I just remember that was like my childhood, like staring back.
You had the seat face in the back, right? Looking out the back.
Yep. And then we had to replace the engine once. I remember I helped my dad he was a mechanic for like 30 years. So I helped my dad one summer replace the engine on that. So that's a fond memory, just playing with spark plugs and stuff and just being a kid and getting dirty, and it was
Yeah.
a good life. And I think that's something that is missing a lot from this generation. Just having fun, getting dirty, fiddling with stuff, you know.
Yeah. It's definitely happened. So I think just briefly, we had a brief conversation before we got cut off, but you had mentioned something about you have 3 children and you homeschooled them all.
Yeah, I homeschool all of my kids. My son graduated actually last year when he was 16.
Congratulations. Great.
So, yeah,
At
he's already
16, he graduated?
16, yeah.
It
So,
speaks to both his ability to learn and your ability to express and teach, huh?
yeah, it would, I'll give credit to him. He's a very intelligent man and he was very determined and he wanted to do it. So he did it. I actually was homeschooled myself and I graduated at 16. So we're second generation homeschoolers.
How
So,
did that happen in your family? How did that come to be? Or is there a history to that with your family?
well, my mom was very religious. I'm not so much, but she was very religious. And okay, so this is a strange story. My gym teacher died in front of the whole class. I did go to public school from like kindergarten to third, second grade, I think it was. I was pulled out, and the gym teacher died in front of the class. All the kids wanted to pray for him, but the teachers weren't allowing it really. And my mom got upset by that, and then I got in trouble for going to my brother's class and telling him that the gym teacher just died. And my mom was just done with all of that. She was just ready to pull us all out after that. And she did. She pulled us all out. So,
I don't agree with the dogma of the religion, to be honest, and of any religion in general, because I think there's a human problem to it. But I admire people with the conviction of it, if
well,
that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
really admire the people. Generally, the people who have those convictions are very good people at their core, and they just tend to find something to which they relate or something.
Now, I grew up very religious, but I was Episcopalian. But in my time growing up, I've watched the church become completely woke. And that's just something I don't necessarily agree with. I felt like they were moving away from teaching the Bible to just teaching their wokeness, and as Elon calls it, the woke mind virus. It's infected
Right.
churches
Yeah, I saw
just
them
as
in
much as it
Italy.
infected schools. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like we're having this issue across the board, and it's just something I wanted to back away from. So I stopped going to church, and instead on Sundays, my daughter and I volunteer at a horse rescue. That's what I
Oh,
do. I
very
figure
nice.
I'll take care of God's creatures. That's
Right. Well, I mean, I would assume you have some kind of personal thing that you would have,
yeah.
right? A personal faith of sort. I
Well,
mean,
I would
I'm
just
not
say
trying to pin you in a
Christian.
corner or anything. I'm not trying to get you.
No,
It's
oh
not for
no, it's fine.
clickbait or anything.
I'm
It's just,
perfectly no, I'm perfectly fine with being open about my religion. So yeah, I believe in God and aliens. Keep all my bases covered. You never know what might come, but it's just something that I think it's a personal thing. It really is, and you
hey,
have to
that's the
figure out
thing.
your way through what your religion is and what you feel is right and correct. And my mom doesn't necessarily agree, but then, whatever.
Right.
you
Well, that's what
know,
the
we still
that's
love each
what
other. I love my mom very
I
much. She just thinks I'm a heathen 90% of the time, which is probably true.
right. Well,
Um, but
it's nothing.
but
It's
I
because she loves you. It's out of love. I mean, it's really because she has this belief system that thinks that if you live a certain way, you're going to go a certain place. And if she feels that for you, she's going to want that for you because she loves you. I mean,
well,
we both know
I,
it.
I feel like deep down inside, if you're a good person, good things will happen to you. You will be rewarded. So it's just try to be a good, loving, caring person and take care of your fellow man and fellow people, and good things will come. That's my general opinion on it. But I have met some super religious people who have been straight up assholes to me, and they were horrible. They treated me rudely, and um, yeah, they say bless your heart to your face, and they're not meaning actually bless your heart.
Right. Like, bless your
So.
heart. Like, oh, you're going to die alone and in hell and you're going to be ripped apart for life. You're just
Yeah.
lesser. They
So
want to pat you on
it's
the head and send you on your way. Pat you, go away.
it's extreme hubris, I think,
Yeah.
within religious sections and even some circles that I fly in. So it's just something I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do and try to be a good person and try to make people's lives better and just ignore you type thing. So
That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. And that's the thing. It's like interesting because I will say that I came from very, very conservative. So my mom was in East Germany and then they escaped. So like they
Mm.
came from like my grandfather was a soldier in the Nazi army. It's like crazy shit. So they escaped. So they went from like fascism to communism to West Germany to America. Like they were just getting all kinds of different ideologies back and forth. And it's basically leave us alone, right? My grandfather, my great grandfather used to say to my mom, politics is same pile of shit, different flies, basically, right? That's all it
Hmm.
was, right? So when they came, they were very conservative. They wanted to Americanize us. We got very American names, and we assimilate. We learned English. You know, we didn't corner off like we had German Community Club, but we didn't have that as what our that was our backup or that was our like our behind the scenes stuff. But we were still Americans, so we assimilated, right? Because we believed in American dream of as a whole, and I think that dream's kind of gone. So it's
Yeah.
not like people aren't assimilating as much, you know, and we're not seeing each other face to face, and they are kind of separating us a little bit.
Well, did you see how there was an article not too long ago how some of the migrants coming into the country are like, we're going back home because the American dream's not here anymore. And I'm like, bye.
Well,
You
Ecuador, I
know,
heard a lot of people in Ecuador going back or something. Yeah.
something. But I was just, there's too many people here. We just can't handle the influx. We can't, and same with other European countries. So
Yeah, I think it's a
it's
challenge for everyone. I mean, I don't understand why secure borders is such a controversial topic. I just don't understand that.
oh, among libertarians it is definitely because they're all
Right.
like,
And
let's
I'm
keep.
like I said, I'm first generation, but we continued the tenet of that mindset because we live that on. You know what I mean? Like we agree with that concept that you should, you know, pursue your happiness as long as your pursuit doesn't interfere with another's and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, and just as long as you don't interfere with the property and rights of others.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
So with
problem
that,
we're seeing right now.
yeah. So well, with that, you know, it kind of came from like the last thing my mom saw was communism. So they just voted Republican, and I voted. You know, I was a registered Republican until I think it was after 2016. I think it was the 2018 election with Martha McSally and Kirsten Sinema. If you remember that election, that was a
Wow,
dumpster fire election. But I
long ago.
finally stepped back, and now I'm no political party. I just kind of stepped because there's not it's a corporate uniparty now, you know. It's all control opposition. It's not you
Yeah,
know, we're not getting the independence that we need from our elected officials.
I mean, we're not really getting the winners, are we? I mean, we have Trump, who, despite how good he is, I'm still pissed he didn't pardon Snowden, Assange, or pardon
i
Ross.
I
That
don't
still pisses
understand
me off.
that. I don't understand that one. Yeah.
So that still ticks me off. And then we have Trump, who's like a dementia patient, and he's like up in his 80s,
Biden.
and Trump is getting there. I'm sorry, Biden. Um, but Trump is getting up there too. It's like you can't even tell them apart anymore. But
Yeah.
it's just that they're all getting old. Why do we have such old people? I mean, what is the age where you become a president? 35? Where are the young 35 somethings, you know,
Right.
who want to run our country? They're not there. So what's going on? I mean, if you look at RFK, he's fit and he looks like he could do a great job, but there's still some things about him I don't 100% like.
He recently lost all the credibility he gained. I mean, he did a great
Yeah.
job on Rogan, but since then the other side of his mouth has opened and everything else has come out. So he's kind of lost a lot of that credibility that he really had a lot
Yeah.
banked. If he would have just shut up about certain things, I think he would do very well,
I agree
you
with
know?
that actually.
But I
And
like that
then
he's a fighter. Once again, I don't care if I agree
yeah.
with you or not. I do admire that your heart's in it. Now, I do need you to be honest. You know, there still needs to be some kind of intellectual honesty. You have to be an honest actor, right? Come from like, I actually truly believe this. It's not for profit. It's not to manipulate. It's not for control. It's for, I actually believe these things, you know?
Yeah. Now Michael Rectenwald, he's running on the Libertarian ticket, and he's
Yes. And
fantastic.
I'm
He's
speaking with him tomorrow.
oh,
Uh,
he's actually a friend of mine. Tell him I said hi.
yes. That's what, okay. Yeah.
So
So I have a conversation with him in the evening, tomorrow evening.
yeah, he's a sweetheart. I really love
I
him,
will
but
tell him you say hi.
the libertarian ticket is kind of like, you know,
Yeah. So what
you're
can you tell me about that? I wanted to ask about that because Joshua Smith is another one, right? Uh,
Joshua Smith, yeah.
Josh
I know
Smith,
him too.
and then Nervand or Vander Van or something.
There's a couple of them. Now I've met four. I know four of them running.
Could you give me
The
some thoughts on them in general?
Well, not each of them. I mean, for Josh, he's a sweetheart and he has a lot of kids.
He just had one, didn't he? Didn't he recently just have
Yeah,
a?
he just had another baby. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of everybody that's running. I have to look at their pictures. It's weird. Michael Rechtenwald, though, he's highly intelligent. He's an Austrian background, but I mean, the whole it's 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 kind of giving me the same feelings as Biden and Trump. I mean, the libertarian ticket.
Well,
You know,
Dr. Reckenwald has a challenge in he is not a politician. He doesn't have the personality of the politician the way you would need a little bit more of the conversationalist. He's
but he's a
highly intelligent.
highly intelligent. And I think he's a great conversationalist, personally, because I talk to him all the time. But
Right. But I also think that's from kind of you're similar in that way. But I'm talking about that politician thing that, those people
yeah,
have. Like,
I
let's be
actually
honest,
have.
Trump has it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Trump
Trump
has
has
it.
it. He has that
Yeah.
FU type personality.
Exactly.
Um, I actually have one of Michael's books right under my laptop here that I'm holding
Oh,
in my
perfect.
stand up.
Which book is it?
The Great Reset.
The Great Reset.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, he's a highly intelligent man, but we need fighters at this point because what's coming in America? I mean, you're seeing the economy crash in real time. That's what we're having right now. They're even admitting we're like in a recession. So whoever comes into office in 2024, they're gonna have to deal with that. They're gonna have to deal with the shit that the Dems have done the last 3 years, which is try to separate us. And then you have the Ukraine Russia thing coming on, and then after that you have the thing in Israel. So it's like we have it's a clusterfuck. That's what we're dealing with,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's the challenge is like what are the forces pushing all those things? And will a single 1, 2 people be able to thwart, even just in one election, stave off enough? You know what I mean? Because I think what I saw in Trump was I think he went in a little naive, just not understanding how it worked. So when he had those initial players, they weren't the best players, right? And he
Hmm.
kind of wised up a little bit. And I
Bolton.
think once again, I think one of the things that Trump has an advantage of is he learns from his previous actions. So I don't think he would make the same naivete errors that he would, but I don't know what a single libertarian individual walking into that administration or into that government is going to do. I don't know if he could do a Malay type thing. And what are the consequences of something like that? Just shredding all those types of things with like just out of the blue.
Well, it's going to save a lot of money for their country, one. But
For
two, that
sure.
means a lot of unemployed people. So that's one
Right.
thing.
That's the question that no one
Yeah.
really seems to talk about. It's like, where are they? Look, I believe the 3-letter agencies absolutely need to be phased out, but
Hmm.
phase out is much different than the wrecking ball because
Yeah.
a wrecking ball will cause like 80% of those jobs are administrative by people who really might not be able to do other jobs that much, right? They're kind of paper pushers, kind of almost like government jobs. Those employee jobs are just kind of like next click,
Hmm.
click, right? Where are those going to go? Do we just put them right on wealth? Like, does it go right to a middle welfare while we find a new industry? I mean, we have to, everybody talks about like what we're going to do next. We don't talk about what we're going to do like 3 steps from what we did next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I play chess a lot, so I see those
Yeah. Oh,
four moves ahead.
you
So it's like we're
Chess Chick 01, right? On Twitter, on
yeah,
X.
Chess Trick 01. So it's like where we're gonna do with all those people losing those jobs if we do that. So there has to be a good plan in place, and I think they're doing okay right now with Melania, and we could do that here in the United States. I mean, look at when the government shuts down because we don't have enough funding. Do you notice any big difference?
Certainly not on an individual level, not in that way.
There's a lot of jobs in government that we don't need. We need more
Absolutely.
private sector. come in and start taking over our economy, in my
And
opinion.
I agree 100%. We do have too much, and it certainly should be this. It should always work from the smallest government out. It should work from the most local out. We have absolutely too much in place. The thing is, it is in place. Undoing it is a much different statement than not starting it, right?
Yeah.
So we have to start slowly undoing it, undoing those spaghetti wires of, cords, and not hopefully, maybe do one three letter at a time and then slowly fold it in over a decade, 2 decades, even. But the problem is with 4-year, 8-year terms, that gets
Yeah,
signed out
you
after
have to do it
term.
in
You have to
yeah,
do it,
you
right?
have to in short
Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
But hopefully, personally, I think Argentina right now is ground zero for libertarian ideas. So I really hope they do well, and then
No,
we can start
absolutely.
selling
Yeah.
that in other countries. That's my goal, my ideal. With Argentina, it's like we can make this work, but you have to really start by making sure these ideas that we all promote here in the United States succeed. So I'm over here praying for that. Hoping
Absolutely.
that it actually works out.
Yeah.
Not just for the libertarian ideas, but for the Argentina people. They need that.
Absolutely. Well, we just need people to survive and get to tomorrow, right? I mean, more than anything.
Well, we
So
need people to prosper. We need prosperity again, and
prosperity
that
is what we
that that so many people, myself included, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, barely making it with 3 children. So it's hard.
I
Inflation
can
has
only imagine.
killed my
Yeah.
budget. I was actually I resigned from one job this year. I was let go from another, and I lost my appendix. So it's been a tough year for me,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I've been okay. You know, um,
It sounds like
yeah,
you have a good community support though. You have a lot of group of close people that,
I
they
have good friends, really good friends, and my mom has helped by watching the kids and stuff when I need it. So it's been helpful. But at the same time, I have that community and that support. What's happening to the people who don't, and that's
right.
sad. So,
Right. And it
uh,
would be nice if we were all one big community, but it is hard to do that. I mean, you have to start small and work your way outward. You can't start large and work your way down. Trickle down community doesn't work.
yeah, that's very true. I think Elon's kind of pulling a lot of people together on X. That's one
For
great thing
sure.
about that platform. He is kind of bringing in all the people who support free speech
Right.
and agree with it. So that's actually been quite refreshing to see. Just free speech being pushed and talked about on a platform, mega platform. You go on Facebook and you don't have that. You
Oh
really don't.
no, not at all. I
No, you
Facebook.
get banned for saying 2 + 2 = 5 or something. You know
Right.
that
Right.
that I can't tell
Two
you
plus
how many
two.
bans I've had on Facebook. I had since Elon took over, I had one ban on X, and that was because the old algorithm automatically dinged people. I was talking about Zelensky, and I got banned. And then I think it was Alex or somebody was talking about how all of these accounts got an insta ban, and I was one of them. And Elon replied to it. He was like, "What accounts got a ban?" And then he unbanned us in like 5 minutes.
Oh,
So
very cool.
Elon fixed me being banned, which was very cool. And it was like, okay, I'm
And
like
he had a
losing
hand in
my
it,
life now.
like a
Yeah,
direct hand in it. That's
a
cool.
direct hand. Yeah. So
And
I
you've
still have
had
the
some
screenshot.
engagement since, right?
Yeah, I've had Elon's talked to me. I don't know. I've lost count. It's probably been about 7 or 8 times, maybe 10.
Very
It's
cool.
getting up there, but it's very cool.
I'm
He's a
in
very
current
cool
Twitter
guy.
jail and I can't figure it out. So
Why are you in Twitter jail?
I honestly do not know. If you go through my feed, other than saying Nikki Haley should never be president, that's probably the only thing I've really said that was about incendiary. But so I had Scott Horton on in October and Nikki Haley came up and I use that clip always that I just can't with this woman. I just can't. And well, this is what happened. So I have recently started doing this. I've been blessed. First of all, Scott is gifting me with his time. You're gifting me with time. Dr. Rechtenwald is going on tomorrow. All I had to do is simply, you want to talk community? All I had to do is ask, excuse
Yeah.
me, do you have an extra hour? And some people are like, no, I don't. I'm like, cool. And many are like, sure, let's chat, right? And then an hour turns into 2, and who knows what happens out of that, right? So, for example, Connor Freeman, who's with Scott, he lives in where I live. So I reached out to Connor through that. So now I'm hoping to meet with Connor. So it's like, once again, it's becoming this organic growth kind of thing, right? So I get on Twitter, and in 1 week, I start engaging a little bit more because I'm starting to build the conversations more. And I gained 70 followers in 1 week. I hit 500 followers, and I didn't get a single like, retweet, repost, add, friend for an entire week. And I went from like, I don't have the impressions you do. Please understand, I'm a nobody. But I went from 60,000 impressions to 6,000 in a week, and then went back up to 70 or 80,000. And now I'm now at 1,000 impressions, and I disappeared again. And I do not know what I did. I asked multiple times. They say they can't tell me, but I can't imagine, other than other individual people trying to do something concerted. I can't imagine, but why would I not exist anywhere? And I just upgraded to premium and then premium plus. So I actually did
Yeah.
pay into it now completely.
Well, I think one of the biggest things is getting those retweets from bigger accounts. That's really what pushes you up. Um,
Correct.
and
Right.
and so you should get a little help this week from me.
Oh, well, good.
So
I hope no.
we'll see
And
how it
and
goes.
I'm not
But
complaining. I really think it's an algorithm thing, and honestly, I think it's totally fine. I'm just trying to figure it out because I know there is a trick to it, right? There's a style. You had to figure that out. And I thought when it was working initially, I thought I had figured it out, and I kept doing that. Now it's not working, so now I got to figure out the new things.
yeah,
Well, thank
I
you for
I
helping.
I keep it mostly like memes, videos, short, simple. Use the
Yeah,
KISS principle. Keep it simple,
absolutely.
stupid.
Yeah,
So
repost with a little quip or something, right? Nothing crazy.
yeah. Um, and that's about that. I will say my average for a week is about 3 million impressions.
That would explain
So
why, yeah. If you
yeah,
looked at my analytics that I screenshot them, it's like it just looks weird. And I posted them. I'm just like, I just don't understand. I'm not mad. I just don't understand it. So, but thank you. So the chess chick, that boggled me about you, because a lot of people use her name when they're in this type of influencer. Where did the chess chick name come from? Were you a professional? Tell me the story about the chess background.
I did play some professional. I was the president of the chess team in college, believe it or not, at 16. So I've
Wow.
been playing chess since I was a little girl. And I'm not that great. I basically do it for fun. But yeah, when I joined Twitter in I think it was 2009, I'll have to look. But I've been on, Twitter X for ages now. So I have an old account. And
I was April 2009, so
yeah, so when I signed up, I was just like, I'll just do this chess chick, whatever. And
right. It's
yeah, it's turned into actually my handle for the last 10 years. And this is going to sound crazy, but I really didn't have a following until 3 years ago. Now, 3 years ago was when COVID started, and I was probably in libertarian circles one of the first to push back. I'm not saying I'm the first, I'm just saying I was one of the first. And I have tweets from like January, February already saying, "Hey, this is bullshit. They're going to try something." And from March on, yeah, I got tons of, people didn't really side with me at first, but after about July, that was when I started to get a huge uptick from my speaking out about it. And I'm like, this is bullshit. These lockdowns are bullshit. The mask is bullshit. The vaccines are bullshit. So I got a lot of hate. I was called a Nazi. I got my favorite nickname from that, which is Aryan Barbie. That was my favorite.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I was like, this is
Does
the
it come
best
with the
insult.
armband and everything? Does it come?
It didn't. I was
Oh,
hoping for a pink one, but
a bedazzled, a little sparkles, little
bedazzle,
sequins on it.
glitters. But no, so that was my favorite insult, and I actually ran with it. So now some of my followers
That's a fun one, actually.
so some of my followers will call me Aryan Barbie, but and so you might see that. No, not Nazi, like that's crazy. But um Yeah, so and then I started losing friends, and that hurt a lot. And probably though the worst thing out of it all was my grandma was in a nursing home at that time, and she was dying of cancer, not COVID, cancer, and they would not let us see her. And then she was getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and then finally they sent her to the emergency room because she hadn't eaten in 4 days, but they told us on that fourth day. So she was already not taking in
Or
liquids.
emaciated and
Yeah. So by the time we got to her, she was already knocking on death's door. And they still wouldn't let us see her. So me and my mom transferred her to it's not a respite, but
a
it's
hospice.
hospice. Thank you.
No, I
Um,
totally get it. It's always so funny when we
yeah.
have like 8,000 of these conversations. It's like that word's right on the tip of my tongue. And
Yeah. But no, so we transferred her to a hospice and we were able to be with her for the last 3 days. But after a year, I only spending the last 3 days with my grandma, I will never forgive them for that. They can go fuck themselves. If they even try this shit again, no, fuck you. I'm not going to take it. And I know there's millions of people out there who are not going to take it again either. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot being so tyrannical so quick. And they
right.
really did. And you know what? They did win in a sense because we have less freedoms now. So,
And
on top,
NDAA just got extended, right? Or whatever.
yeah,
So 702.
yeah. Thomas tried to stop that. I saw that, and
I know. But it's
he
like
tried.
I I admire the man, but you knew there was a workaround. He knew that they were going to circumvent it the second he voted no. And I don't, that's not to say he shouldn't vote no. I'm not saying anything about that. But like, let's be honest, I'm a soldier, right? I know that the fight is lost because even with if I vote yes, it goes through. If I vote no, they just circumvent. At least I got to look like I'm going to vote no. And I'm not saying he didn't agree with it. Of course, Thomas Massey, Rep Massey seems like the most, once again, you want to talk honest actor? I can work with an honest actor. Someone just needs to be who they are, and I can work with them because that's where compromise comes in. But you can't work with the dishonest actors who are really lying, right? And there are some people who do vote a certain way, knowing it's still going to go a certain way. Like,
Yeah.
let's look at the UN, for example. What was the thing about this ceasefire? Everyone voted. US voted no, and the UK did what? They didn't vote yes. They voted abstain. So they didn't take the heat for voting no, but they didn't exactly vote yes either. So when the vote
Mhm.
looks back, they can say, we didn't vote yes to stop the ceasefire, whatever, or we didn't vote no, we voted abstain. And they can, it's that whole illusion of the how we move forward to vote on
Yeah.
their record, I guess, in a way. Now, I
Well,
do absolutely like Rep Massey. So just to
oh,
be clear.
yeah. He's a sweetheart.
And he
One of my
follows me.
favorite
So I'm
people in
like,
Congress.
woo.
Yeah. Yeah, he follows me too. I have his Christmas
Yeah.
card behind me. I actually
Oh,
just showed this.
yeah, let's go through these.
I
Let's go through
I
these.
I actually showed this in another episode I just did this week, but here
Well,
you
I'm
go.
hurt. Oh, very cool. I will be
Yeah.
posting that. I'm going to screenshot that and
So
post that
that
out.
that that's his actual Christmas card. It wasn't the guns. They were holding banjos,
Oh,
okay?
that's beautiful. Oh, did they
Uh,
redo it with guns or something?
yeah, it got all
Oh,
over the internet. I'll show you a
AI is going
couple.
to kill us all, Natalie.
This was Carol and Ron Paul's Christmas card. It was a New Year's
Beautiful.
thing. There's another
That was this
Christmas
year as
card.
well?
No, that was I think last year or 2 years ago. And
Oh,
then
that's
here's another
nice.
Ron Paul one.
I see
Up
that.
here, that's me with Jeff Deist. That's Hans Herman Hoppe, more Ron Paul stuff, and then there's a bunch of pictures going up. Some of my kids, so I'll keep those out. But
Very, very
um,
nice. Very nice.
so yeah,
Yeah.
that
And,
that's
and like
that's
I
my
said,
my wall of fame over there. And then
beautiful.
and then on the other side, I have all my name tags from events I've attended or spoke at. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have a weird wall. It's kind of like it keeps me motivated, like
I
I've
think
met all
that's
these cool
actually
people.
huge.
Yeah, I mean that you need that. It's like, okay, you're doing this now. Okay, do one step better than that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really interesting. Like I'm still trying to figure out why I'm even doing this, but it's like I just want to get to know people.
yeah.
I don't know if I like knowing people, but I love meeting and getting to know people. Because by the end of a conversation like this, you're just like, hey, how did it seem? It's like you guys knew each other forever. It's like, yeah, because you just talk. That's
Yeah.
what it's about.
Well, it's funny too because sometimes I think I like people online, but then I don't like them in person. Or then you find out just how effing horrible they are. You know, um,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what it boils down to is just, yeah, back to being a good person type thing,
I think so
in and
too.
out in your soul and, online and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I've been known to be heathen online. I'm getting a little old though for that. I need to dial it back a bit, I think. I'm
Well,
starting to
I'm
push 40. I'm 37, but I'll be 37 tomorrow. So
well, like I said, it's very interesting. Yeah, tomorrow's your birthday once again. That's so awesome. And
yeah.
about that though, you talk about the heathen thing. It's like almost the libertarian comes in line with the God, and I'm actually kind of an anti-theist. I'm very Hitchensian in my only. I'll talk with you offline because I don't want to sound like a total crazy person on this
Yeah,
podcast. I sounded crazy on plenty of them.
but
Yeah, so I always found the connection between God and the liberty thing because it seems to me going back that in history everyone believed they were deists at least, right? So they were just God was like a thing. It was like everyone just spoke of God. It wasn't like there was an anti-theist or an atheist real movement. It was just there was the reason at one point, but most of the founders were just believers in God, right? It was like God gave us these rights. And I feel like we conflated those two, and we can't. I feel like the liberty in God should be completely separate. I don't think that faith should have anything to do with that personally. I also am one of those people who believe in objective truths and like that have nothing to do with the I don't need the religion part to tell me what good and bad is because I've experienced the contrast of good versus bad. That's not to say that I want to argue with people's belief system. It's just I have a hard time connecting the two the way many libertarians seem to connect the two. Do you find that at all with your belief system at all?
no, not really, because for me, it's like, well, if you believe in God, well, you should believe in these principles as well. Freedom,
Okay.
liberty. You have God-given rights as well.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
predate government, so that's like my theory
Right.
on that. But for me, really, the reason why I fight for liberty is because my kids, I want them to know freedom.
First of all, thank you again for your time. Sorry about the technical glitches. I think it's probably me. I tend to make things go boom. So
You
I'm working
broke
on
it.
it. Yeah, I think I did. I broke the internet. So, well, Al Gore's got to fix it because, he
Yeah.
made it. So,
Well, he's not
anyway,
gonna fix
so
much. But yeah,
let's
with
go.
my kids, with for me, liberty means just fighting for my children. That's where I was going with that.
No, please do.
Yeah.
Yeah, please share, expound on that, please. And then expound that into your joining of free cities because I think that is a really important thing that the free city not ideology but the concept the idea of it is a good thing to have expressed and shared with everyone.
Well, I want my kids to know and feel liberty in their lifetime. That's just my personal goal in life. I kind of I'm about to turn 37 tomorrow, so Monday, I should say. But I know it's kind of past the point in my life to actually have any inkling of freedom before I die. That's where I'm at. But for my children, they still have a whole life ahead of them, and I want them to know what it's like to have a free city. Excuse me, I've had a cold this week. So that was one reason why I did join the Free Cities Foundation.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it was a little heartbreaking. I'll
Yeah.
say that.
So
Um,
on that front, Mises, do they have an endorsing candidate yet? Have they completely endorsed Dr. Rechtenwald or someone yet, or are they still?
they completely stay out of politics as a
Oh, they do. Okay.
501c3, I
As
believe,
it's
is there.
okay.
They stay out of politics. The same thing with the Free Cities Foundation. We tend to stay
Okay.
out of
Yeah.
politics.
Thank you for clarifying those different
Yeah.
groups and the profits because a C4 I think can be political, but there's some weird.
C4 can be political, but there's something weird with that. I just recommend that if you work for a foundation, you try not to be political. That's probably the best thing. But
I think that's very important for sure.
yeah, with the Free Cities Foundation, I believe they're putting into action the liberty ideas, and that's something I haven't seen many liberty orgs do. So I definitely wanted my children to know liberty, and any place for me that's putting all these libertarian ideas and actually trying to make them work, like they are with the Free Cities Prospera. Um, is one of them. So the fact that I'm seeing these ideas come to fruition and actually begin to start working, that gives me hope, and that's like where I want to invest my time. It's kind of like why I'm on X. That's where I want to invest my time because Elon wants free speech.
Right.
That's where I'm going to invest my money because
Right.
Elon wants free speech. So that
Right.
that was my thinking joining the Free Cities Foundation. And they were really great, actually. My boss is wonderful. His name is Peter Young, and the day that I had the interview with them was the day I lost my appendix. So imagine emailing somebody and say, "Hey, I'm going into emergency surgery. I can't do the interview because I'm
Like,
dying.
think about of all the
I'm dying.
excuses you
I
could possibly
apologize."
have.
And I was like, I hope they believe me because it's a hell of an excuse.
Right.
Like I'm
Yeah. How many
dying right
grandmothers do you have that
now.
passed this week? You know?
Yeah, so it was very awkward. I was like, I can give you a doctor's note. Here's my IV in my arm right now. I didn't know what else to do. But they were really sweet and they were like, you know what? If you feel okay in a week, we can do the interview. And I was like, okay. Because they were trying to get someone in quickly.
Right.
But yeah, I did the interview and I got the job. So it was
Very
fantastic. And
nice.
I've
Congratulations.
been there. I've been there about 7 or 8 months now.
Okay, very nice. That's great. And I
So
remember
yeah.
my last job or this one that I was working, my first week, I had 102 fever and I was sweating at my desk, shaking and like typing. And they sent me home. And I'm like, I just started working here. I cannot have a sickness take over. I think you and I are like that mindset is like
Yeah.
literally
Well,
it takes death or near death to get us to keep from us from doing what we need to do.
yeah, my friend said you have a Ohio salt of the earth attitude, and I think that's what it is. Like you're dying, but you're still keep working type thing. You know,
Yeah.
uh, Peter's been a great boss in that sense because he understands that with me, I think, and he was just like, take a break, go walk
Yeah.
away, don't get stressed out, and that's the problem,
So
man. You
you
get stressed
nailed it though.
out.
How did you come to even find the group to kind of intermingle or to reach out to?
Well, this is interesting. So Jeff Deist, when he a year or 2 years ago now, when he was still working at the Mises Institute, he attended a Liberty in Our Lifetime event, and he spoke at it in 2022. And I helped him a bit with his slides and stuff, and I wanted to see my work up on the screen. And I applied for the online. You can get an online ticket to the event in Prague. So I applied to the online ticket in Prague, and then I enjoyed it so much. I ended up not just watching Jeff's part, giving his presentation. I watched the whole 2 days of the presentations, and I loved what they were speaking out, what they were doing. I'm like, finally, they're trying to put libertarian ideas to work instead of just infighting with each other, which is what I see a lot in libertarian circles. So I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And then when Mises let me go, my friend Robert Arrow, who actually was already working for the Free Cities Foundation, or doing some stuff for them, he was like, "Hey, they have an opening here. Why don't you apply for it?" And I was like, "Okay, well," because I know their work, I know their people. I was like, "I will apply," and I did, and I got accepted. So that was fantastic.
Very nice. So it's been about 8 months so far.
Yeah, about 7, 8 months. I
Okay.
think I lost my appendix in May. That's like my,
It's on my
my
appendix day. It's like
it was on
tomorrow's
my
your birthday.
appendix
You had an
day.
appendix day. You had a kidney day. You had a gallbladder day, and all
Well,
day.
actually, it's funny because I spent my sixth birthday in the hospital when I was a kid because I had kidney failure at that time.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, so I've had
I'm
a
not trying to be glib about it. I'm just so apologies.
no, it's fine. I've had like the roughest life ever, and it's just like okay, you just keep moving, one foot in
I
front
hear
of the
that.
other. I was
Yeah.
like, I'll rest when I'm
Struggle
dead.
does make you grow for some reason. It's interesting how the friction is what actually keeps us going instead of the ease of it, right?
Yeah, it's strange. It's like even like no matter how tough my life is, I'm just like just keep going, keep breathing, keep working. That's what you got to do to get your ideas out there, survive.
But you have three
I
kids too. You've got purpose, you've got meaning. I mean, there's a lot of that to it.
yeah. They're good kids too. My son, he's going to be 18. My middle's going to be 16. My youngest is going to be 6. So they basically are the reason. I mean, I see so many. Do you notice this, like in our age bracket, that there are so many people who don't want kids? Like
Yeah.
for me, it was the only purpose growing up.
I wanted
But
to
then,
specifically speak with you about that actually. So please,
oh,
please
did you?
share
You want
everything.
me to
And
keep
no,
going?
I'm gonna blow your mind away in a second, but go ahead, please. Yeah.
See, I have 3 kids. I started at 19. I started very young. So I'm going to be 37. So for me, it was just like this is my purpose in life to have children. Um, I've never had an abortion. I never bought into that feminist thing that having a job is more fulfilling than having children. No, for me, that's bullshit. And so, but now I'm seeing all over the internet. There's the DINK thing and dual income, no kids,
No kids.
or
Yep.
whatever it is. And I just think that's so ridiculous. Like, there's going to be all these people in the coming generations who's going to have nobody to take care of them, and nobody to fill the jobs to take care of them. Like, do people realize this?
No, they
Like,
don't. And I can speak to all of that, but yeah, it's a crazy time.
I mean, thankfully, I definitely know my kids will take care of me. That's not a problem for me. But
Well, it sounds like you're taking very good care of them. So
oh yeah, they're so spoiled. It's like I
well,
gave up.
that's what love does, right? Love is both
Yeah,
the spoil and the hurt, right? It's like
yeah.
the tough love too.
Yeah, the tough love too. They get some of that as well. But I was always one of those like peaceful parenting type moms. They never got spanked. They always got hugs and kisses, and they've turned out okay. So I did something right. I
You
don't know,
sounds like you did pretty well.
but yeah. So I think it's selfishness in a very real sense. All these people who are just like, oh, we're gonna have a good time now. Well, who's gonna take care of you when that good time's over?
Yeah. So
What do you
if I
think?
may.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll listen.
So, I grew up with I wanted the 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and the whole thing. Very traditional, very isolated. My brother and I, so we're a traditional family of four. My parents are still together, 59, 60 years. Very traditional. My brother got someone pregnant at 19 when I was 16. So that one hit me pretty hard. And that set on a different path for the two of us. And he has 4 children. And at 34, I actually voluntarily got a vasectomy and I don't have any children. So I will happily admit that there is some trauma somewhere going on. And it took me, when I started contemplating whether I was going to do it or not, I was 31. So I did it. It wasn't like snap decision. I was very lost in purpose, and reflecting on it's different now than it was then. But my girlfriend and I, we're together now 5 years. She teaches special ed children for second and fourth graders. And she also didn't, she wanted kids growing up too. And then something happened where she didn't. And both of us are together, but we both promote children. We both promote family because I think it allows. So this is the way I see it. I think what happened was everyone pushed family to people who felt a little off. And it was a small percentage of people. You've got outliers, right? Some people don't agree with you, 10%, whatever it is. Just like there's homosexuality is a certain percentage of the population, right? It just is. So I consider myself an outlier. However, in order for me to exist, the general population can't think the way I do. The general
Mm,
population has to still believe in or have that belief in the family system and everything. Right. So, like, what happened was people like myself culturally took over and said, you don't need kids. I don't believe that. I think that family allows people like weirdos like myself to exist in the society. Does that make sense? Because
yeah.
I'm unstable enough, but I'm not a majority of unstable. Does that to like destabilize the entire system? Does that
Well,
make
see,
sense?
yeah, the problem with that is now everybody's thinking like you, and we're
Well, that's the
watching
problem.
a
It's become
huge,
cultural.
yeah,
Right.
we've
It's
seen
become
a
a cultural thing.
huge drop in people having babies, and that's
It,
just, Elon Musk
right.
points this out I'm sorry, points this out on Twitter, and
Yes.
he keeps saying, people need to have children, and then the declining population, and we're gonna have big issues coming up, and he's correct in all of that.
I'm sure you were on that spaces, right? With that when they with Alex and everybody.
I was there, yeah.
Okay, so I was listening as well. And as soon as this, it's funny because this specific topic comes up because I know exactly where I am a challenge to the system, but I also agree with the system. I just know specifically, remember, I'm an older person. I wasn't culturally pushed into that. I felt outlierish. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I, and then with just what happened with my experience with my personal life, that's what I then decided to do for myself. I never pushed that for anyone, if that makes sense. It was a decision for me, not a lifestyle decision, if that makes sense. It was more of a how I see family in the world kind of thing.
Well, as long as you're not being a negative on society, I think it's okay. But at the
Right.
same
Exactly.
time, eventually when you get older, you're going to need help.
Correct. And I,
When you
yeah.
have family, you have that backbone. There's still time to
Right.
adopt, is what I'm telling you.
Oh yeah,
So,
oh, yeah. Well, that's true, and that's the thing. Is like I've talked with my girlfriend about it, but my girlfriend and I are in the same page. Once again, we absolutely contribute. I mean, she works with special needs children. You know what I mean? She helps with children with communication delay and things. And she's such a beautiful person. I am the most blessed person to find her in my life. You know, it's just a beautiful thing. But it is specifically for me, the children I made I did like, I actually put an end to that for me. Like I know I can do it IVF too, by the way. There's a lot of different ways we could do it. But like I said, it's like one of those things that now has been not an obstacle for me in the libertarian thing because I am on the side of family. I believe in family. Family creates stability. Family is legacy. Family is the
well,
continuation of a
family's the first
society.
line of defense against the state, and that's what
Right.
people
And
really don't understand. And we need to be having big families. We need to be having strong
yeah,
families. We need families who have money and can push
right,
back and say, like Elon Musk is doing, fuck you.
right,
We need those
right,
people, those natural elites pushing back, saying fuck you against the state with their, 10 baby army behind them. That's what we need.
right. And some of the
And,
problems
and
urbanization, though, like the point of having 20 kids was you worked on the farm, you had labor, you had, accidents happen too back then. You know what I mean? There's a lot of interesting
I will
dynamics to
take
that.
I would take people having one or two kids at this point. Just
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Well, what's it?
put back into the
2.1 is the
population.
standard, right?
Yeah,
So if you can get a two and a three you just get a two and a three every other family, you're good,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, we're not seeing that. We're basically seeing
No,
people
no.
say
And to
no
your point,
children
the
at
dink
all.
thing, sitting there parading like, "Oh, don't have kids because I'm amazing. Look how free my life." It's not how I perceive what I did with my choice on it, if that makes sense. It's not from that
Mhm.
lifestyle perspective where that's obviously it's selfish too, but I'd have to talk to you offline probably about it. But but
Yeah,
basically there's some things that just made me decide that. But what's interesting was there was a woman who tried to trap me a year after I had that procedure, and that was a fun story. So
that's weird.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
uh,
I find weird. So yeah, that was an interesting one. But
women that try to do that are
yeah.
very wrong.
Well, to
That
your
that's a
point,
good word for it.
right? It's not just women and men. It's like individuals do bad things. There can be bad individuals. It has nothing to do with whether it's a woman or a man, right? Kind of thing. We all do it in different ways. So we
Yeah,
just need to be good.
yeah, and that goes back to my thing. Just try to be a good person. That's just it. And try not to cause too many problems in society. And well, I guess I couldn't say that because I'm the person who's protesting against I want to abolish the Fed and stuff. So that's a lot of problems it would cause in society. But those are problems that we need to cause,
I
for a
agree.
better future for our children.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where
So
I'm at.
tell me about that. So tell me about the Fed. It
Oh, it
popped in
needs to
your
be
head. So
abolished. Oh, yeah. I mean, the Federal Reserve, they're causing massive inflation right now. And, when there's too much money chasing too few goods, we get inflation. And that's what the Fed causes. And not many people understand. They might just understand it better this year, I actually think. I think that there's a better understanding of what the Fed does and how evil it is. I think we're slowly getting that out there, but people really don't understand just how horrible it is. Now, Melini, a lot of people say the only thing with Melini is, he's ending the central bank and then he's coming over to the dollar. And that's just trading one central bank for another. But in a very real sense, the dollar's the least dirty shirt in the laundry, which is, I hate saying that, but that's the truth.
Well, it
Uh,
is because I mean, do you want them to stay with BRICS? Because BRICS
yeah,
is building. I mean, BRICS is growing, and with the Indian use of oil from Russia, and with Russia's not hurting the way America said they were going to hurt with these sanctions. They're stronger than ever. They're starting to build internally now. It's kind of a dangerous thing, and at least stepping away from BRICS helps in that, to your point, kind of staving off the flood. But to your
yeah.
deeper point, we need to fix the whole
Well, the
problem.
flood's coming no matter if we do
Yeah,
anything or not. I mean, hurt a lot now or hurt a lot later. That then for generations to come. That's where we're at. I don't know. It's a hot mess right now. Peter St. Orange is actually one of my favorite followers on
I just
Twitter.
started following him. Yeah, I started tweeting and responding to some of his stuff recently.
Yeah, besides his awesome T-shirts, which I love, he gives you a rundown of the Fed like every day. So I highly recommend people go and watch his videos, and you'll have an understanding of the shitstorm that's about to come because there's a shitstorm coming. But he is super, super good at just putting those pieces together and explaining it in layman's terms and making you understand it. So I highly recommend people go follow him. I'm not
So I know
very
the shitstorm's coming, and I'm completely wholly unprepared. What good is knowing without being prepared for it?
I mean, I have some silver, I have bullets, I have canned food, I know how to grow, I know how to hunt. My kids know how to hunt, they know how to fish. My kids, if you drop them in the forest now, they will survive. That's just
Very
how I
nice.
raised them growing up.
Yeah,
And
totally.
because even when they were little, I saw that this was all building up to something major. And we saw it advance really quickly last year when they printed off what, the 6 trillion for COVID relief, or that was
What was it?
2001
I think it was in the
or
last
21.
4 or 5 years they printed more than the total up to that point, or some ridiculous. There was some ridiculous something.
Well, that's a little
Yeah,
strange.
yeah. Can
I
you can
think
you
I think
maybe un?
Robert Arrow actually has a good article on this on
Okay.
Mises.org, and he talks about it.
Okay.
It's not like 30% or something. It's a lower number than what they were reporting. It was like
Oh, okay.
50.
Yeah, it was one of those shock numbers, that.
Yeah, one of those shock things, but it is astounding how much they've printed in the last couple of years. It's like more than my whole life now. Just the last few
Excellent. Right,
years.
right,
But
right.
if you look, Ron Paul had a really great quote once. He said, "It's no coincidence that a century of central banking coincided with a century of total war." And this is what we're seeing. And whenever we're in war, it just gives them a more of an excuse to print money, and that's
Yeah, my
why all
favorite
this
picture
money's
of the
going to
week.
Ukraine.
Yeah,
What
my
was
favorite
it?
picture of the week was Zelensky standing with all the Raytheon and the Lockheed
Oh
Martin.
yeah.
Just like,
Oh yeah.
hi everybody, this is our family yearbook. This is our family reunion. What a beautiful, warm, just ball of death that everybody just wants to throw at each other.
Yeah,
That
war is the
war,
health of the state.
I,
That's really what
I
we're
mean,
at with that.
oh, yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
shame because it's like I remember the Zelensky thing, and I call my mother. My mom, like I said, we're center right for sure. My parents are a little more conservative because they're just anti-communist because they dealt with it. You know what I mean? Like they left it. They literally escaped it. So they're anti-communist, if not more just pro-capitalist, right? As much as anything. So they were fighting this the whole time. And we're watching this. I call my mom and I'm like, Zelensky's gonna become Noriega. They're gonna prop him up. They're gonna make him like this king, and then shit's gonna hit the fan, and then he's gonna run away. And now he's looking at property in Florida, from what I hear. And I
yeah.
feel like he's gonna be has
Well,
some beautiful refund
I
property.
I saw that property in Florida thing, and I don't know how much I can actually
Oh,
trust it.
okay. What is it
So
about? Yeah, can you dissect that a little bit, maybe?
I can't really dissect it. I mean,
Oh,
from what I've seen, it's just like a bullshit rumor that
oh,
he's
okay. It's
looking at
just a bullshit.
property in Florida. Yeah. So that's what I
Okay.
got out of that.
But
But
outside
Zelensky,
of that, the other stuff is legit.
the rest of that's legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just funneling money in and out. That's really what it boils down to. It's a scheme. It's a racket. So,
War's a
and
racket.
what?
Smedley.
Yep. steadily. And war's the health of the state as well. So they
Yeah.
need these wars to keep themselves relevant and
Right.
spending.
So you end up going to a free city. Have you visited any of these free cities?
I have not. I'm hoping to visit a couple next year, or at least one of them. I don't know if that's in the cards yet, but we'll see. I'm definitely am going back to Prague next year. I know that for a fact.
Excellent.
Um, so that's one thing I do want to do this year, next year. But yeah, it's just I'm kind of easing into it a little bit more and more every day.
Do you have Freedom Fest on the docket for next year as well?
No, I do not. I
Okay.
might. You never
Excellent.
know.
All right, I already got
You
my.
know,
I don't have the Freedom Fest tickets. It's very interesting. 2 years ago, I was in Vegas at the Mirage, and my girlfriend and I just go maybe 5 times to Vegas. We drive up and we just spend a weekend, nothing crazy. And we're sitting there, and it turns out Freedom Fest was going on. Met a whole bunch of unique people there. So I already have just a hotel room at like $10 a night in Paris, down a little bit further down the strip. But hey, I just locked it in. It's like at least I'll be there. So hoping to get the energy off it.
yeah, I always tell people I'm happy to come to events. You just gotta pay my way. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I always tell them. I have three
yeah,
kids. I mean, we're
right.
struggling. So
Yeah, the pain does the pain's the trouble, right?
yeah, my son's working full time, so that helps a
Excellent.
little bit. He's a good kid. So he can now like pay for his own little things if he wants them, which helps. So, but yeah, other than that, it's like if people want me at events, I will be happy to come and speak or talk or meet or mingle. Just you pay my for my plane ticket and my hotel, okay?
We'll make that a
Um,
disclaimer. Pay my way.
pay my way. So yeah, no, I have attended some great events though over the years. It's been fun.
Yeah, it sounds like. Yeah. So we've got the whole wall of fame over here on this side with all the places you did you get a shot of the all the events with the tags or are they further off screen?
Oh, they're further off screen. Hold
Okay.
on.
It's okay. We don't have Oh, there
Well,
they go. Okay, there they are. Okay, great.
yeah.
So what's one of your most memorable moments from some of these conventions or events that you've attended recently? Maybe this year that you've been to or
Oh, it was definitely Prague. I was up on stage speaking. My favorite
Wow,
part,
how you had
yeah,
a speech to prepare?
yeah, I was. I hosted a panel, but my favorite thing about the panel was that I got to speak some German. So not only was
Kannst
it
du
one of
Deutsch sprechen? Du kannst gut Deutsch sprechen oder nicht so gut?
yeah, just a little,
Oh, ein bisschen.
yeah,
Ja,
but
nur ein bisschen, aber du hast Deutsch da mit in.
I'm trying to bring back all I've learned from Ramstein over the years. Hold on.
Very nice. My buddy loves Ramstein. He goes to all their concerts.
So I basically just said Bürgergenossenschaft Mittelsaxen. That was like the one thing I
And
had
du
to learn.
hast.
And Du hast. And oh, Guten Tag. So
Guten Tag.
yeah.
Guten Tag. Yeah.
So
Well, at least you got to use it, right? That's always
I
good.
got to use it. So that was fun. But yeah, I'll probably definitely going back next year. So I want to do it again. But yeah, speaking was a lot of fun. It's a beautiful venue. It was gorgeous. Like I've never seen such a beautiful, open, just like relaxing venue before. Sometimes you go into like events and it's all closed off and it's a dark room and they have like but
Yeah, it's
it
like
was,
and
it
low
was
ceilings like a Holiday Inn. It's like a Holiday
yeah,
Inn convention with the
yeah.
yeah.
No, this
Yeah.
had vaulted ceilings and they had all the there's doors going out to like little balconies and stuff. They were all open so all this fresh air was coming in and it was just relaxing. It was comforting.
Very
Lots
nice.
of good food, and the one thing I like about this event, which I've noticed with a lot of excuse me, my earphone came out. I noticed with a lot of like libertarian conferences and stuff, like children aren't really welcomed. But at Free Cities events, we encourage people to bring their children, and we also are fine with people bringing their dog as well. So
Okay.
as weird as it sounds, we had two dogs there this year, and then we had a
That'll
bunch
bring
of
my girlfriend. She'd be all up in the dogs.
yeah. I they were adorable. I one of their names was Greta. I forget the other name. It was Eddie. So Greta and Eddie, they were very well behaved though. So there was like no issue. But yeah, and the children, we had a bunch of children this year, from teenager on down. So that was fantastic to see, because I see a lot of people cutting off like the younger generation from like liberty circles, and it just bugs me because it's like this is your future behind you. You want to start
Right.
teaching them now. And I'm
Right.
not seeing that happen. And here we are. We're going to be stuck in like 10 years.
Well, we're seeing a slightly, I hate to say disturbing trend because it concerns me more in a war way, but seeing the youth have the largest conservative movement among 16 to 18-year-old boys, it's both a good thing, but I know libertarians a little more conservative minded, but we don't need the Republican conservative because they're the ones who are going to start the wars. We don't need those guys. We need the libertarian minded type conservative, right? That have a little more family oriented things like that. How do we capture that group of young men? Give them purpose because it feels like that group feels more lost than other groups feel.
Well, yeah. I mean, my son, he's definitely more on the conservative side, but he's a smart kid. I think that generation's going to figure it out. I'm worried about the generation before my son's generation to
Yeah,
my
you're talking
generation.
millennials. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
that one group. Yeah. There is that group. Well, that's kind of the thing is like you may have that dip, but that next generation is going to be the replacement family, but it's still trending downward, which is the danger. Which is to your point, it still is a pyramid piece. You still need to feed the population in the bottom to make this thing work. It's just how it works. It's just how
Yeah.
nature and probabilities work. Everything will collapse. If you have an inverted pyramid, it's not going to work that way, just to your point.
Yeah. I mean that it is what it is.
Well, you
That's
did
what
your
we're
part.
dealing with. I did my part. I have 3 kids. I can die happy now. That's what I tell
Amen.
my kids.
And
I'm
you know,
like,
and it's funny because a lot of this stuff was going on. We talk COVID and stuff, and let's talk education because it's interesting because I'm in Arizona and my girlfriend, I was sharing things that I was hearing from, Twitter's or X is very unique. I just heard on the news about the sex scandal with the senator thing on mainstream. I remember seeing
yeah,
on X on what Thursday night going, how many days do we have this to ourselves before mainstream media is going to even mention it or even get a whiff of it? And we had it, you know, we had the shot heard around the world days before anyone even knew
yeah.
that thing was fired, right?
Well, that's the thing. You're getting your news on X before mainstream media now.
Right.
And what's hysterical was their headlines were reading like we all didn't see the gay video already. you
Right.
know, th- that
Right.
that's it's like
Everyone's already watched the video and you're
we've
there.
already watched it. I forgot what headline it was, but they were like alleged.
Right.
Yeah, it
Well,
was.
that's
They
a
said
legal thing.
alleged. Yeah,
I think I replied on that because it is a legal thing because they can't, it's still that stupid, not in a court of law
uh,
bullshit.
but like we all saw it. Like
Right.
okay, whatever.
Well, to that
you know,
point, so what's interesting is X is a unique microcosm of the country, which is different than what you may experience locally. None of the ideology, the CRT stuff, none of this, my girlfriend is very aware of it like I am. She doesn't get that in her school, in her kindergarten, like her elementary school, the way others do. And I know it's a more suburban conservative type things. So there are pockets of these more extreme CRT and less extreme CRT, but it's like, and all the other stuff, the DEI and all those other indoctrination type things, the transgender thing. She doesn't experience that in her school like others do. And that's not to say it's not happening. It's just to say that if without like X is such a great platform to your point is everyone can express what's going on locally to the world so that they know and they're aware that there are things like that going on. And I think that's the beauty of X is just the expression. And that's where your free speech comes in. That's
yeah.
you have to share everything.
If I didn't believe in X, I wouldn't be supporting it, and I went up to Premium Plus. So
And that's
that's
exactly why I did as well. I don't have the money and I supported it. I paid the annual fee.
get rid of Disney, you got Premium Plus.
There you
That's
go. Exactly. That's easy. That was an easy one though, wasn't it?
yeah,
I
it
mean,
was
if you
pretty easy.
really first of all, the it's not like the content's even good anymore. Like make it good and ideological. You
They
can't
kind
be
of they
bad and ideological.
okay. So they kind of lost me when they fired Gina. That made me very upset when they
Which
fired
one?
Gina. Gina.
Gina Gershon.
Yeah,
Or Gina Carano.
yeah, I can't say her last name.
Carano. Yeah,
Yeah,
Carano, the one from Mandalorian, right?
Mandalorian. Yeah.
She's the UFC fighter that's yes.
hmm
Absolutely. Tell me about that. Tell me about what your feelings were about that.
Oh, well, it's just made me upset because it's like she's just trying to get, the COVID nonsense out there and try to explain it to people succinctly. And they went off on her. It's something we see. If you don't agree with their narrative, they will find every way and accuse you of everything just to get you fired or, get your views out of the public so that you can't no longer spread your truth. That's what happened. I mean, she was right about COVID. She was right up there with, people like Rob Schneider and stuff pushing back.
Right. Well, Rob Schneider also suffered that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if you really recall. I mean, you're younger than I am, so you may not have hit the Rob Schneider cancellation period of his career. Maybe you did, but he had a little part where he did. At least the narrative was that he went off the deep end, and then he had that show that he had that wasn't that funny, but it wasn't pushed that much. But he had already started speaking out against the establishment, so they had already kind of started that concerted effort to push him out of the mainstream.
Yeah, but what's funny is he's gained up to 1 million+
Oh,
followers since
absolutely.
he started
And
speaking out. So it's
and
like,
his real personality, he's no longer like the cliche or the cutout character, the you can do it or the Steve-O guy. He's actually like Rob Schneider, right? Where
yeah,
sometimes you get typecast. Like Michael Richards is going to be Kramer to me pretty much the rest of his life. But Jason Alexander's George. But I don't see, Rob Schneider as the you can do it only guy now. He's much more broader, and he's been, shown to be much more, have a breadth and a depth to his character and himself.
not not to mention highly intelligent.
Yes.
The guys out there reading Mises, not many people read Mises or Rothbard or,
Right. And
so
nuanced. He's able to
yeah,
have a nuanced I love how we're unable to hold two different like thoughts in the same time in our head. It's like it's not binary, people. It's not
no.
binary. It's like ridiculous. Is like this good, that bad. It's like there's so many shades of gray in there, right? It's like
Well, what kind of disappoints me is assuming that there are actors out there who aren't intelligent, and there are actually actors out there who are highly intelligent. And yeah, some for reasons they can't speak out, but they're good people. So
absolutely.
that's why
Well,
we need the Elon Musk out there who have the fuck you money saying fuck you. So
yeah.
that's what
I
we need.
have the I must consider your proposal before I say no money. That's the voice that I have right now. I can't say go fuck yourself yet.
Yeah, I
Oh
can't
well.
I can't either, but I have not much else to lose, so whatever. I still
I'm
do
a
it
rebellion
anyway.
though. That's true. I am a little bit of a rebellion. I can't really keep my mouth shut too long though. But
Yeah.
so, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or share? It's been a very pleasant conversation. Thank you again for gifting your Sunday afternoon with me.
Oh, you're welcome. No, not much else. You will having a birthday tomorrow. That's
Happy birthday! We'll get it blasted on Twitter. Are we going to do a Twitter? What's that Twitter party where we just tweet
well.
trend Happy birthday,
I
Natalie?
I was just gonna tweet my donation link because I don't have a subscription button. This is one thing about X that I have an issue with, but the guys that are looking into a subscription button, but I haven't had one for a full year. And I hear what the issue with the subscription button is. Now, don't quote me on this. Is that Apple only allows a certain amount of subscribers per an app, and so they did the first round. Now they're attempting to do the second round of allowing these specific subscribers to come through. So I'm waiting on that. But so
If
yeah,
you
until
switch
that
to
time,
Android, does that circumvent the problem?
no. At least that's what I was told. So
Okay. I was just curious because I
yeah,
know that Apple's had its own issues with Play Store and some other issues as well, where there's a general, not compatibility issue, but a little bit of the cross.
yeah. So yeah, I was just gonna post my donation and be like, pretend you subscribe to me for a year.
There you go.
So that,
Perfect. Well, definitely happy birthday. And I'd like to open this. If you ever want to talk about or share anything, I'm open to talk. I can talk about almost any topic that you'd want to discuss. So just don't play
oh, I
chess
have a
because I
lot of
really can't got that
topics. Yeah.
capability.
We could do a chess live stream. You want to do a chess live stream one of these days?
No, I
Or
do
I'm
not
just
want to be I lose in 8 moves or 3 moves or whatever. No, thank you. I'm a kamikaze chess person. I like taking out, like, I just sacrifice my person for that. I'm very bad.
Oh, you're one of those queen trade people.
I'm a horrible player. Yes. That's
Hmm,
I did try. I was in the club. I just wasn't very good. So
that's funny.
Anyway, so well, thank you again. Happy birthday. And like I said, please tweet this out to everyone because
I will.
I'm here to speak with anyone. Like I said, I have Dr. Reckenwald tomorrow, but I am looking to be a medium for people's voices. That's it. More than anything, I don't need to believe in what you believe in to believe in you. You know what I mean?
That's
So
fantastic. And we need to have more conversations with people we don't necessarily agree with 100%. That's something that's
also,
seriously lacking in society, in my opinion. There are people I get along with on the left. My own parents are left. They voted for Biden. I still they're 5 minutes away. I was just at my mom's the other day. So it's like
there
I
you
get
go.
along fine with my parents. We just don't talk politics.
Right.
But
Exactly.
yeah,
So, all right. Well, thank you again. If there are any closing
thanks
comments,
for having
anything
me.
again, once again, it's Natalie Danelishan. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
that's right.
Excellent.
You did
All
a
right.
great job.
free-cities.org. Thank you again for the time. I'm more than grateful. I'll get these things spliced together. We had some technical issues, but I'll get it together as quickly as I can.
And keep a lookout for the Liberty in Our Lifetime event. I should be posting it next week. And yeah, definitely check out freecities.org.
Excellent. Thank you so much again. Like I said, we've got each other on DM and stuff, so feel free to reach out if there's anybody you want me to. If you have anybody you want me to get in contact with, like I said, I see myself as like a conduit for it because I want to talk interesting topics and ideas and things, and that's what it's all about, is getting the ideas out, because the more ideas we have to choose from, the better ultimate option, the ultimate decision we'll make better as a
100%.
whole.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you again, Natalie. Have a great day. Take care.
1, 2, 3, 4. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night.